There is a certain kind of knowledge that most people walk past without noticing. Knowledge that isn't loud, isn't glamorous, and certainly isn't comfortable. It sits quietly in the background of human behavior, influencing decisions, relationships, power dynamics, and outcomes, without anyone ever naming it. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this hidden world better than almost anyone in history. He observed people exactly as they are, not as society wishes they were. He stripped away the layers of politeness, illusion, and wishful thinking that cloud human judgment and revealed something both unsettling and surprisingly useful. That beneath the surface, humans follow predictable psychological patterns. His writings were never meant to be motivational speeches. They were psychological maps, guides to understanding human nature with clarity, precision, and neutrality. And among his many insights, there is one method so subtle, so quietly powerful, and so psychologically sharp that it remains one of his most misunderstood teachings. It is not about manipulation for the sake of harm. It is not about cruelty or domination. It is about something far more practical. How to move in a world where human intentions are rarely pure, where loyalty shifts, and where appearances often hide deeper motives. This method is considered dark only because it requires honesty, true honesty, about how people behave when pressure rises, when power is on the table, or when fear shapes choices. Most people avoid thinking this way because it demands emotional detachment and a willingness to see things as they truly are. But once you understand it, your perception changes. You become calmer, more observant, less easily influenced, and far more capable of navigating life with quiet confidence. Machiavelli believed that power, stability, and peace do not arise from good intentions alone, but from understanding the deeper movements of human psychology. He believed that the person who sees the truth beneath the surface can avoid unnecessary conflict, avoid disappointment, and avoid being misled by appearances. The method we're about to explore is not meant to make you ruthless. It is meant to make you awake, more grounded, more stable, and more capable of protecting your energy and your direction in life. Let us begin. Number 1, the principle of predictable self-interest. Machiavelli's forbidden method begins with a psychological truth so simple that most people overlook its power. Human beings act according to what benefits them in the moment. This isn't rooted in wickedness or cruelty. It is an instinctive form of self-preservation, wired into our biology and shaped by centuries of survival-driven behavior. When you understand this, not as a cynical belief, but as a realistic observation of human nature, you stop expecting people to act against their own interests simply because you were loyal, kind, or supportive. Machiavelli believed that the most dangerous mistake a person can make is assuming others will live by your principles. Instead, he urged individuals to study actions, incentives, and patterns, recognizing that behavior reveals far more truth than declarations of loyalty. Modern psychology echoes this. Humans are predictably self-interested, often making choices based on short-term gain, emotional safety, or social advantage rather than moral ideals. This understanding doesn't turn you into a manipulator. It turns you into a strategist. When you stop taking betrayal personally, something profound happens. You remove the emotional charge that blinds your judgment. Neurological studies show that emotional pain, especially social rejection, activates the same brain regions as physical pain. This is why betrayal feels so deeply personal, even when it isn't. But once you adopt Machiavelli's mindset, you step into a calmer, more analytical perspective. Instead of asking, "How could they do this to me?" You ask, what did they gain by doing this? That shift alone increases your emotional intelligence and protects you from repeated disappointment. You begin to notice patterns. Who acts only when watched, who is motivated by fear, who changes when circumstances shift, and who becomes distant when there's nothing left to extract. These insights allow you to navigate relationships, personal, professional, and social, with clarity rather than illusion. The real power of this approach is that it frees you from bitterness. Machiavelli never encouraged people to hate others for acting in their own interest. He encouraged people to anticipate it. When you observe behavior instead of believing rhetoric, you develop a kind of quiet immunity. You stop putting your peace in the hands of unpredictable people. You stop giving loyalty to those who haven't proven they can handle it. And you stop assuming that intentions matter more than actions. This isn't coldness, it's awareness. It allows you to build stronger boundaries, choose better alliances, and maintain emotional stability in a world where many operate impulsively. Machiavelli's method, when applied with wisdom rather than malice, doesn't corrupt your heart. It strengthens your mind, helping you move through life with a calm, strategic confidence that others notice but cannot easily influence. Number 2, learn to read intentions by watching actions, not words. Machiavelli taught a timeless psychological truth. Words reflect desire, but actions reveal character. This simple idea becomes a powerful tool for navigating human behavior once you understand how it works beneath the surface. People often package their intentions in attractive language, using promises, emotional expressions, or carefully chosen words to craft a particular image of themselves. They may speak of loyalty but disappear when you need them. They may talk about humility, yet constantly seek validation. They may claim they want peace, but their choices ignite conflict. Machiavelli observed that language is flexible, adaptable, and easily manipulated to serve personal agendas. Actions, however, are far harder to disguise. A person's patterns, consistency, and unconscious habits offer a truer window into who they really are. This is why seasoned leaders, strategists, and emotionally intelligent individuals learn to listen with their eyes more than with their ears. Instead of being swayed by charm or enthusiasm, they watch how someone behaves when pressure rises, when there is nothing to gain, or when no one is paying attention. Understanding this principle becomes even more powerful when you connect it to modern psychology. Behavioral science shows that actions are shaped by core values, beliefs, and subconscious drives, whereas words are shaped by social expectations and self-presentation. Social psychologists call this impression management, our tendency to adjust our words to fit a desired image. Meanwhile, consistent behavior across different situations is a strong indicator of a person's true nature. For example, researchers have found that a person's moral behavior correlates more closely with their small, everyday actions, returning a lost item, respecting boundaries, being punctual, than with any claims they make about honesty or integrity. Machiavelli intuitively understood this long before psychology existed, which is why he advised rulers to observe how people act, not how they describe themselves. When you apply this mindset, you begin to notice subtle truths that others miss. You stop being overly impressed by eloquence and start paying attention to reliability. You stop believing apologies that never come with change. You stop accepting potential as proof and start valuing patterns. This shift protects your emotional clarity because it prevents you from becoming entangled in illusions false promises or manipulative charm. You're no longer judging people by the highlight reels they present, but by the real-life footage of their decisions. In time, this discipline makes you calmer, wiser, and harder to deceive. You begin to understand the deeper Machiavellian lesson. If you want to know a person's soul, ignore their words. Watch what their feet walk toward, what their hands reach for, and what they consistently choose when no one is looking. That is where the truth lives. Number 3, maintain strategic distance until patterns are clear. Machiavelli advised leaders and ordinary individuals alike to resist forming attachments too quickly, because emotional distance creates a strategic vantage point, not a cold barrier. In his writings, especially in The Prince, he emphasized that humans often misjudge situations when their feelings dominate their reasoning. Emotional distance, therefore, becomes a way to preserve clarity rather than suppress compassion. When you maintain a step back from the excitement of new connections, you begin to notice subtle cues most people overlook: the hesitations in someone's tone, the contradictions in their behavior, and the quiet signs of sincerity or manipulation. This is not cynicism. It is a disciplined form of perception. Psychology backs this up. Cognitive scientists explain that emotional arousal narrows a person's attentional bandwidth, making them less capable of detecting red flags or inconsistencies. Machiavelli understood this long before modern research confirmed it. By pausing before you attach, you protect yourself from the mind's natural tendency to idealize people you barely know. Emotional distance gives you time to watch how someone acts when they are not trying to impress you, how they handle stress, and how they treat those who can offer them nothing. This method prevents premature trust, which is one of the most common precursors to betrayal, disappointment, and loss of control. It also encourages self-mastery. When you slow your emotional reactions, you gain more influence over your decisions, your boundaries, and your long-term outcomes. Interestingly, studies in behavioral psychology show that people who maintain calm observation rather than rushing into emotional closeness tend to make stronger, healthier, and more stable relationships in the long run, precisely because they choose connection from clarity, not from impulse. Machiavelli's insight, often misinterpreted as cold, was actually a profound early understanding of emotional intelligence. Emotional distance is not about building walls. It is about giving yourself the space to see the full landscape of another person's character. It allows you to approach relationships with wisdom, not desperation, and to choose trust based on evidence rather than hope. In a world where people often hurry into alliances, friendships, and romances without understanding the consequences, Machiavelli's principle remains timeless. Step back, observe, and allow truth to reveal itself. This is how you avoid unnecessary disappointment and maintain control of your inner world, even when the outer world tries to pull you in too quickly. Number 4, never reveal your full thoughts too early. Selective transparency is one of Machiavelli's most overlooked but powerful psychological principles, and it works not through secrecy but through timing. In a world where people constantly overshare their thoughts, fears, and intentions, the person who reveals less gains an immediate psychological advantage. Machiavelli understood that when you limit what others can read about you, you are not hiding. You are protecting the clarity of your inner world. Modern psychology supports this idea through the concept of cognitive load. The fewer outside opinions and expectations you let into your mental space, the clearer your thinking becomes. Selective transparency is not about pushing people away. It is about creating mental breathing room so you can observe, reflect, and make decisions from a place of calm rather than pressure. When you reveal less by choice, you reduce emotional reactivity. You prevent people from weaponizing your vulnerabilities. You shield your mind from unnecessary noise. And this creates a powerful aura, because unpredictability naturally causes others to pause, watch, and reassess their assumptions. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures. When someone does not immediately fit an obvious pattern, their presence becomes more intriguing, more respected, and in many cases more trusted. Counterintuitively, people tend to project strength, wisdom, and depth onto those who do not volunteer every detail of their life. Machiavelli noted that the prince who measures his words earns more influence than the one who speaks freely, because restraint signals both discipline and confidence. Today, behavioral research reflects the same truth. Perceived self-control enhances authority. When you practice selective transparency, you gain the ability to control the narrative around you. You choose which parts of your story the world sees and when they see it. You decide which thoughts deserve the public stage and which deserve private reflection. You learn to respond rather than react. This composure makes people listen more attentively when you do choose to speak, because your words carry intention instead of impulsiveness. Over time, your silence becomes as meaningful as your speech. This is why people respect what they cannot easily predict, because uncertainty activates curiosity, and curiosity elevates your presence. Selective transparency is not coldness, it is strategy. It allows you to move through life with a quieter mind, a stronger sense of identity, and the psychological upper hand that comes from being calm, observant, and difficult to manipulate. It is one of the simplest ways to reclaim your power in a world that constantly pressures you to explain yourself. Number 5, use stability as your silent influence. Machiavelli believed that calmness is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic form of power, a psychological advantage that many people underestimate. In his writings, especially in The Prince, he highlights that leaders who can maintain composure under pressure are far more feared, respected, and trusted than those who are controlled by their emotions. This idea remains true in modern psychology. Emotional regulation is strongly linked to higher intelligence, better decision-making, and increased social influence. When you remain calm, you create a quiet gravitational pull. People subconsciously anchor themselves to the most stable energy in the room, and you become that anchor. Your steadiness becomes a reference point for others, guiding how they speak, react, and even think. This is why Machiavelli viewed emotional restraint as a form of subtle dominance. It forces people to adapt to your state instead of you adapting to theirs. Neuroscience supports this, showing that humans naturally mirror the emotional tone of those around them, a process known as emotional contagion. A calm person disrupts emotional chaos and resets the atmosphere without saying a word. To Machiavelli, this wasn't passive behavior. It was calculated strength. Calmness gives you time to see the full landscape of a situation, to observe motives, to anticipate reactions, and to make decisions based on logic rather than impulse. While others are clouded by frustration or fear, you gain clarity. In competitive environments, this becomes a superpower. A person who does not react emotionally becomes unpredictable, not because they are hiding, but because they cannot be easily manipulated. People who rely on provocation quickly learn that their tricks do not work on you. This creates a quiet imbalance of power where you gain influence simply by refusing to play the emotional game. Machiavelli emphasized that a leader should appear composed even when internally uncertain, because perception shapes reality. Today, psychologists echo this idea. Calmness communicates competence, and competence inspires trust. When people feel safe around your presence, they naturally follow your lead. This is influence without effort, control without force. You don't need to raise your voice, assert dominance, or impose authority. Your calmness does the work for you. Machiavelli understood that the individual who controls his own emotions controls the emotional climate of the room. And in a world where most people react before thinking, the person who thinks before reacting becomes the one who quietly governs the outcome. This is why calmness, in Machiavelli's view and modern psychology alike, remains one of the most powerful forms of strength a person can cultivate. Number 6, understand that being misunderstood is a shield. Allowing people to misunderstand you may seem counterintuitive, but it is one of the darkest and most effective psychological tactics Niccolò Machiavelli subtly hinted at in his writings. Instead of correcting every assumption others make about you, Machiavelli suggests letting those assumptions play out. When people underestimate you, they reveal more of their intentions, their ambitions, and their vulnerabilities because they do not see you as a threat. In political strategy, this is known as informational asymmetry. When one side has significantly more knowledge than the other, they hold the power. Machiavelli observed that leaders who appeared harmless or unimportant could maneuver with far more freedom than those constantly in the spotlight. Modern psychology agrees. Cognitive biases, like the halo effect and confirmation bias, show that once people form an impression, they rarely question it. By letting that impression stand, you gain valuable space to watch how they behave when they believe no real resistance exists. This approach is not about manipulation for cruelty, it is about strategic restraint. By resisting the impulse to defend your image or prove your worth, you preserve emotional energy and protect yourself from unnecessary conflict. Being admired puts you under scrutiny, but being underestimated gives you invisibility, and invisibility provides safety and leverage. Even intelligence agencies use this principle. Operatives are trained to appear ordinary so they can observe without being observed. In everyday life, the same principle applies. When you let others underestimate you, you are free to choose your timing, your moves, and your reactions with clarity and control. Machiavelli's insight is simple but powerful. Sometimes the greatest strength is found in the freedom that comes from being quietly, deliberately underestimated.